Hello everyone, I'm Neha Goyal and the name of my subject is Childhood and Growing Up. The topic for today is Principles of Growth and Development. There are many principles of development. The first principle is development is a product of heredity and environment. Or in other words, development is a product of nature versus nurture, where nature is heredity and environment is nurture. According to this principle, heredity and nature play important role in a child's growth and development. Both heredity and nature are important for a child's proper growth and development. Generally, heredity or nature strongly influences the physical development or the physical aspect of the child's growth. It includes the physical makeup the child inherits from the event parents. The heredity includes the physical makeup or the DNA that a child is inheriting from the parents. How tall a child would be, what will be the weight of the child, etc. By environment or nurture, we mean everything that surrounds and influences a child. Now, the second principle is that development follows a pattern or is orderly. By this principle, we mean that development is orderly or it takes place, it follows a certain pattern of development. There are two directions in which the development can take place. The first one is cephalocaudal direction, in which the development moves down the body from head to toe, which means that the development of a infant takes place from head towards toe. The child first starts to control the muscles in the neck, first starts to learn to hold up his head, followed by the muscles in the upper body, then upper legs, lower legs, feet, and then toe. So that is why the child starts moving the head first, then starts sitting up, then crawling, and lastly, the child starts to learn walking. That is why most infants will crawl, stand supported, stand, walk supported, and then walk independently. So if the cephalocaudal direction means the development takes place from in the body from head to toe. The other direction is proximo-distal direction. Proximo-distal direction development sees development progress from the center to the outside or extremities. The proximo-distal direction says that the development of a individual or a child starts from center to the outside. An infant will be able to hit an object with their arm and head, grab an object, then control the manipulation of the object with their fingers. An embryo shows a well-developed torso with very small underdeveloped arms and legs. So the infant first starts to control the shoulder, then the arms, then hand, and then fingers. So the direction the development is moving is from center to the extremity. That is the proximal distal direction of development. Now the third principle of development is that development proceeds from general to specific. The child first shows general responses as a whole, then gradually gives specific responses to specific stimuli. So the development is first takes place in a general manner and then it moves on to being specific. The child moves his whole hand to indicate certain things instead of one finger. Initially, the child moves the whole hand and then the movements become specific. The child produces general babbling sounds before he can speak words. So before the child starts to learn to speak, the child moves general babbling words or the same word for different objects. And then the child moves on to specific. Basically, the child learns to generalize this first and then moves on to specific learning. The next principle is that development is a continuous process. According to this principle, the development takes place throughout life and it is a continuous process. It starts from womb and ends at tomb. Only disease or severe malnutrition may halt its continuity for some time. The only factors which may halt development for some time can be some diseases or with malnutrition. The next principle of development is that all aspects of development are interrelated. All aspects of development like physical aspect, emotional aspect, cognitive and social aspect are interrelated. It means that it is seen that the child whose mental development is above average is also superior in so many other aspects like health, sociability, and special aptitudes. This principle means that if the physical development of a child is good, is proper, then in all probability the other areas of development like emotional, cognitive, and social aspect would be average too. In case a child is lacking behind in, let's say, social development, then that is bound to affect the physical or the emotional development of the child. So all the aspects of development are interrelated and are influenced by each other. The next principle is that development is cumulative. Cumulative means it keeps on growing, keeps on adding. So development is, it doesn't take place in just one day. It keeps on adding and adding and adding and becomes cumulative. Changes in an individual are not sudden, but the cumulative effect of all the changes in the individual. Each change in the child is the culmination of his prior growth and experiences. So since development is qualitative, whatever changes or in functioning or skills or improvement that we are seeing is the combination or addition of all the prior growth and experiences. That is why it is cumulative. Now, next principle is principle of spiral versus linear development. So, according to this principle, the development does not take place in a straight single line. If we plot it in a graph, it will not be a straight line, but it is spiral. The path followed in the development by the child is not straight and linear, and development at any stage never takes place with a constant or steady pace. So development takes place during childhood. The development is fast. Then there is a stop for some time. Then it turns back, and then again it starts again rapidly. So basically, it is spiral in nature. It does not take place consistently at the same rate. At a particular stage of his development, after the child had developed to a certain level, there is likely to be a period of rest for consolidation of the developmental progress achieved till then. In advancing further, development turns back and then moves forward again in a spiral pattern. The next principle is that development follows a sequence and is predictable. So development is definitely sequential or orderly and follows a pattern of development. We can definitely say that at this stage, the child would be able to do this particular activity. And at particular age, the child would be able to do this particular activity. So it is sequential, it takes place in a sequence. We know that the child will start crawling first and only then will be able to walk. And it is definitely predictable that at around this age, the child will be able to speak, or around this age, the child will be able to walk. So it is predictable and it takes place in a sequential manner. Development is both qualitative and quantitative. The next principle, development is both qualitative and quantitative, and both these aspects are inseparable. In broader terms, we can definitely say that development is qualitative, but it is made up of a series of experiences or growth contributes to development, so it is also quantitative. The child not only increases in size, but also matures in structure and function too. And both the aspects, qualitative and quantitative aspects, are inseparable. It is very hard to determine that the changes that are taking place have been qualitative or quantitative. The next principle is principles of different rates of development. Each child, the development rate is different. Rate of development is not uniform. Individuals differ in the rate of growth and development. There are individual differences. Some child might start walking early, some children may start walking late. Some child might start speaking early, some might speak late. So the rate of development is not uniform. But we can definitely say that around this age group, that child would be able to do this particular thing. So individual differs in the rate of growth and development. Boys and girls have different development rates. Boys and girls, again, it is gender based. So girls and boys grow or develop at different rate. Each part of the body has its own particular rate of growth. Every part of the body grows at different rate. There are periods of great intensity and equilibrium, and there are periods of imbalance in the development. Now, the educational implications of principles of growth and development are: teachers and parents should be aware of children's capabilities and potential and provide suitable opportunities. So, if the parents and teachers know about different principles of development, they can act accordingly, and they are aware of children's abilities, and they can provide a suitable or appropriate opportunities. Teachers should also provide favorable environmental conditions for optimum development. Then school programs, procedures, practices, etc. should be adjusted according to the growth and maturation level of children. Since we know that a child would be at this stage of his life, the child would be doing this particular work, would be able to learn this better, we can adjust the program, the procedures accordingly. Then importance of individual differences. Teachers should also keep in mind the principle of individual differences, that all children grow and develop at different rate, different way, and assess them accordingly. Expectations should be according to the stage of growth and development. Teachers and parents both should adjust their expectations from children according to their stage at which they are during of growth and development. Knowledge should be presented in an integrated and interrelated manner. Thank you.